Phil Chang,
Kenny Vanucci.
I hear you are coming back to the coast.
I am coming out here for CHFA West. It's Canada's ultimate trade show dedicated to natural, organic, and wellness products. If you're looking to stay ahead of the curve or like follow, wellness trends in the industry, you probably want to be at the show. This is a great connection show for anything, wellness, natural, the whole bit.
Don't miss your chance to be part of Canada's premier wellness event. Visit chfa.ca today to secure your spot at CHFA West.
We're actually coast to coast. You're in the east, I'm in the middle, he's all
I'm
the
in
way on the
Vancouver.
west.
A very Canadian call for this Good Friday.
Yeah, very
bad.
Canadian
Not
call.
bad.
We what's cool is I was looking you guys up, and we've met you. You just haven't met us. We got to see your pitch last year in PEI, I think.
Oh, you were at the FBA conference?
That's right. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
So you start with a little prior knowledge then.
I know. No, but listen, anytime we can start with a call on coffee is very acceptable to me. Both of us are pretty serious coffee drinkers. We value it more than most things in life, I think. So
I hear you. I'd happily serve you a cup while we speak, but that's going to be a little hard over Zoom.
That's okay. I'll see you at Sial. So
and we will have the pot on then, so you can try some then.
I love it. Hey guys, we're doing a fast thought today. We are actually coast to coast today because we've got Laura out in the on the East Coast, and then we've got Kenny on the West Coast, and I'm somewhere eastish, middle-ish, I think is where I am. I'm in Ontario, but anyway, we're province wide. We're kind of like right across the country almost. So Laura is from Salt Spring Coffee.
Saltwinds.
Sorry, Saltwinds Coffee. Let's get that right. Saltwinds Coffee. And we actually got to meet her we saw her pitch in we saw her, and I think Brad was there. We saw the two of you pitch out in PEI at the Food and Beverage Atlantic Conference last year. But they're going to Sial in Toronto in a couple of weeks. And what we thought we'd do is get Laura on, have her talk about, about the coffee and Saltwinds. So you guys kind of know who you're looking for when you get there. So we will be quiet and let you talk.
Thank you so much, Phil. I'm happy to introduce Saltwinds, and also to let you all know that at Sial we will have the pot on. We'll be pouring samples the whole time. So if this story intrigues you and you can't wait to taste how ocean air changes coffee, just swing by our booth. We'll be in the Atlantic Pavilion. We'll happily pour you some. So at Saltwinds, we're doing something really unique in a space that doesn't have a whole lot of newness. Coffee's been around for hundreds of years. The differentiation in coffee today tends to be on things like roast level and where it's roasted. But here at Saltwinds, we're doing something that's never been done before, and that's recreating the way coffee used to taste when it first came to Canada on wooden sailing ships back in the 1800s. In those days, lots of coffee would have been picked up in ports in the Caribbean and sailed up on wooden sailing ships to ports in the East Coast like St. John and Halifax. And in those days, that journey took weeks. And during the voyage, the warm, salty sea air would soak into the coffee beans as they sailed, and it changed their chemistry. The salts and the minerals and the humidity altered the way the coffee tasted, so that when it got to our shores and it was roasted, you had a completely different experience than with the coffee you get today. As legend had it, that coffee back then was smoother, sweeter, less bitter. So when I heard this story here on the East Coast, we're in New Brunswick, I decided to use my chemistry knowledge. I have a PhD from Oxford to try to recreate the way that coffee tasted. And after many experiences on the sea coast, we figured out a way to do it. And indeed, it yielded a coffee that was incredibly smooth, rich, and less bitter than the coffee we started with. We launched this 3 years ago. Since then, we've won numerous international awards for our unique coffee. And we're now going to Sial for the first time to start to talk to some retailers about really taking this brand coast to coast and even internationally.
Wow.
So interesting. Wow, that's very cool. And then, okay, so you're going to Sial, you're going to be looking for retailers. Are you, kind of want to. I have lots of questions now. I feel like you guys need
Everyone
to.
does after hearing our
Well, because you
story.
start with that, it's tough to go. Well, yeah, now there's a million things to think of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Let's. Yeah,
go
go
on.
ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, in terms of where we're at today,
Yeah.
we've got a really strong e-commerce presence. We've got a rabid band of Saltwinders who, once they try it once, they can't go back. They tell us it's the only coffee they stock. So we're selling on our own website and on Amazon in Canada and in the US, and have a really big fan base from that. We've also started to sell into retail, largely in the Atlantic provinces. We're in Sobeys right now. We're doing really well there. And we'd like to explore now, what does it mean to get outside of the Atlantic provinces? Who will be our partners to take this a little bit further to an even bigger audience?
Oh,
Wow.
very exciting.
So, are
Okay.
you in all three provinces, sort of in your little area there, or are you
All four
Rock
provinces.
as well?
Four. You'll have to.
We
forgive
learned
the
when we were
West Coast.
PEI that the Rock wasn't that close.
It
We
is
heard it's right there,
distribution
like you
is
can
an
spit
awful
and
big
hit.
challenge in the Atlantic
Like,
region.
I never realized that until we were there. I kind of thought, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, like, if you threw a long enough rock, you'd probably hit it. And yet, apparently, it takes 5,000 years to get off it and get anywhere sort of within the Maritime. I didn't realize it was that complicated.
If we had our own sailing ship, we'd happily sail it over, but alas, we use more conventional methods.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Oh my gosh! Like, how amazing would that be? For you
That's
to
the next
actually.
one. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That would actually be pretty cool too.
But maybe we need to sell some more coffee.
Exactly.
So-
It's all in the game plan.
In terms of the retail, like you said, Sobeys, you're obviously, I'm assuming, in a bunch of independents. Do you do any food service? Because there are people that have food service within their retail outlets that maybe, if you do that side.
Absolutely. For now, we've largely focused on the consumer packaged goods plate. So coffee beans and ground coffee in convenient sizes to take home. That being said, we have started to explore some, cafe and restaurant offerings. Hasn't been our main focus yet, but I'd love to understand what needs to be true for this to be a compelling offer for those kind of customers. And what would they be looking for in terms of bringing in such a unique brand like Saltwinds? How could we help them tell the story if it's not with a bag on the shelf like we do today? We are in a lot of independents also. We are in about 150 stores at this point in time. Probably 90% of that Atlantic region, but we have started to pick up some independents in Ontario and further west. We've even got some out in Vancouver. So
nice. That's really good. Wow.
And then, so I love that. Like, I think if you're listening or you're watching this as one, they are looking for partners. They need to come west. And then two is they are looking for retailers, right? So both of those things, your pricing online is pretty competitive. So that makes a lot of sense to me. You do it a little bit different, right? Like you were talking about like roast levels and then also like kind of like this bean mix, but you guys have kind of badged it a little bit different, right? Like you've got a dark roast and a medium blend, but you don't talk about where the beans come from or anything like that.
And
Is
I mean, origins are
Yeah.
important, and that's part of our packaging too. We explain that. But what we found in talking to consumers is they're really interested in the taste experience, right? They want to know what is this coffee going to be like in the cup. And so we've focused a lot of attention around creating different roast experiences and also an entire series of fun flavored coffees. There's not a lot of small coffee brands that play in flavors, but it's about 30% of the market right now, flavored coffee. And it's especially growing amongst the Gen Zs who are trying to create a cafe quality experience, but at home. What's really unique about our Oceaneer infusion process is that not only does it make a great non-bitter hot coffee, as it cools down, it doesn't become bitter like conventional coffee does. So it makes a wonderful iced coffee in a cold brew. In fact, we took the bronze medal in the cold brew championships 2 years in a row for our coffees, once with a dark roast and once with a flavored coconut coffee. So we're seeing a lot of trending. You can find it on our social media and online, recipes for different fun coffee drinks, often with the flavored coffees, often iced. And so there's this large untapped market, especially in retail, where they're not currently offering the kind of coffees that these younger consumers and people who are looking for more of a fun cafe type experience at home can get. So that's a real add-on that we've been discussing with a lot of our customers that they get with Saltwinds, the ability to bring in a new market. So you're not just swapping out coffee A for coffee B, but really adding on some new customers and consumers.
I've never seen that many flavor options.
A lot of them are inspired by the other products that would have been on sailing ships with coffee, right? Tropical fruits, exotic spices. We have a coconut flavored coffee, an orange flavored coffee, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. Wow.
Yeah.
You don't usually see that. You don't usually see brands. You might pick up 1 or 2 SKUs, maybe, but 7 is wow.
So we've got some great displays in Sobeys where you get this huge color range across the shelf with this wide variety of different fun flavors. Makes for a really compelling, eye-catching display, and also encourages consumers when they're on special to perhaps pick up a few different ones, try a couple different things at home, right? So you're really increasing the basket size with that depth of variety.
Love it.
That's good. That's good language to use when you're talking to retailers too.
So noted.
Yeah.
I love it.
Basket size is it, man. You want to grow that basket. You want to get customers to buy more than one thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
No, I love it. I mean, in my basket, that would be, like the single origin, like a nice espresso, like a medium roast espresso, because we drink a lot of that. But coconut macaroon or toasted hazelnut.
Those make a good espresso too. Like the coconut macaroon as a nice little cappuccino. They're all subtle flavors. So it's not overpowering and chemical. It's a beautiful coffee to start with, a premium Arabica with a subtle note of coconut, just to give you something different in the cup.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very different.
Looking forward to meeting you guys. I'll be at Sial in Toronto. So I'm going to come by. Maybe I'll be the guy probably drinking most of your pot.
I've got a lot of coffee, not to worry. There's plenty for everybody.
That's cool.
Thank you for coming on. If folks want to follow you on social media, do you know what your handles are?
Our handle is at Saltwinds Coffee on every platform.
Okay. And Saltwinds, one word, right? Saltwinds.
Saltwinds Coffee.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure to talk a little bit about Saltwinds. Thank you.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, amazing.